Greetings, everyone, on a nice St. Patrick's Day of corned beef and cabbage. I'm not Irish, I'm Scottish, but that's okay. I'll observe the day for what the day is and who it represents of the folks in our great nation. Got a lot of people here tonight, got a lot of promotions and presentations and a lot of different things to talk about, so let's get it going. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation from Chaplain Tim Gore and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, as we gather here tonight under the flag of the United States of America and also the state of North Carolina, we are grateful for the freedoms that we can cherish, to be able to come together as a community to discuss issues that are before us. But tonight, Lord, is a special night. We also are thankful for all these first responders and other leaders who will be recognized, whether it be for awards or promotions or new hires, and we just are thankful that they are coming aboard to continue to help us as our community grows. We ask that you will touch the leaders that we have in place, that you will touch the board and the mayor and all the employees here at the town, that you will grant them the wisdom, courage, and strength they need to face any challenge that comes their way. We do give you praise and thank you for your many blessings and all that you've done for us and for the town of Hope Mills. Thank you very much.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Before we get into the agenda, Commissioner Jerry Legg is not with us tonight. He's in the hospital. I will just say that. I don't know what the medical condition is, but I do know that he went to the hospital today, and that's where he's at. That's why he's not here with us tonight. I did speak with him earlier today, as his wife was putting him in the vehicle to take him to the hospital. He was in very, very good spirits. And he wanted to be here tonight because of a lot of different business and because of the presentations that we had. But like I told him on the phone, I said, you have to take care of yourself. And that's where he's at tonight. So I just wanted everybody to know that and to keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers. Approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions? A motion to approve. Do we have a second? Motion to approve in a second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, agenda is approved as presented. Official comments, we'll start off with the manager's report. That's tab 1.
Thank you, Mayor, Board of Commissioners. First page of the manager's report is the community corner. We have a significant amount of events. We have the I Am Me program, which is very powerful this Saturday at Hope Mills Rec Center. It's sponsored by the Hope Mills Prime Movers. If you have children between grades 4 and 5, it's a great program that teaches the little kids how to tie ties and they pour into children through mentorship. The Hope Mills Police Foundation has 2 fundraisers taking place coming up this week at Zaxby's and at Smithfield's. June 7th is the Hope Mills Fishing Derby. If you actually are registered on a boat, the fees are waived. You have the One Reggae Arts Festival concert May 31st, and we are now beginning to promote the 2nd annual Juneteenth celebration this year to be a Friday and Saturday at Dirtbag Ales. There's a new page on page 2 of the ever expanding manager's report. We talk about first responders and we typically talk about police and fire, but we also have unsung heroes in our inspections department and our public works department. So page 2 provides you with a breakdown of their numbers, how many calls our first responders responded to, how many inspections that our inspectors actually conducted over the last month, and Hope Mills projects. Page 3 and 4 is a breakdown of the significant amount of spring and summer events in Parks and Recreation, from Independence Day food truck registration, Hope Mills Cottontail Trail, opening day is coming up for baseball. The last 5th page is the Hope Mills Chamber of Commerce. The 4th annual Women Mean Business event will be conducted on the 20th of March, this week at Gates 4. And the last 2 pages will customarily remain as NCDOT construction updates for the many roadway and transportation related projects coming through Hope Mills. And that concludes my manager's report. However, I do have a couple of little updates. As people are concerned about the revalve, there were 2 videos that the Cumberland County commissioners posted that had a lot of information explaining the revalve and the appeals process. We have taken those videos. We actually played them at the March 3rd last meeting, but we placed them on our website on the Hope Mills Mayor and Board of Commissioners page. And finally, I know some people have been calling about some trucks at the golf course. Those are related to the private development adjacent to the golf course. They're gearing up for some clearing as they have a project gearing up for construction. And that does conclude my manager's support for this evening.
Okay, thank you, Chancellor. Start off with board member comments. I'll start off with Commissioner Scarola.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to see a packed room. I'm sure as soon as the presentations are over, let's see how few remain. But it's still good for you guys to be here regardless. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Marley?
Mayor, I don't have anything. We got a link to the agenda.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Craven?
I want to welcome all of you here and say congratulations to those that are being promoted and sworn in tonight. And thank you for being a part of our family here in Hope Mills. I do want to thank our staff for putting the replacement of the Jack White bicycle path sign back in. And I'm sure when we do the Rose Garden back, it's going to be as pretty as it was to begin with. I've had several calls, well, more than several, about the chamber holding their Easter egg hunt during worship services on Sunday morning. I did call the chamber today, and they said that they could not change it. I suggested that they maybe change it to Sunday afternoon. They said they could not change it because it would interfere with our Parks and Recreation, what they're doing on Saturday morning. But for those of you that did call me, I did call the chamber, and it will not be changed. It will be on Sunday morning. And another thing, when is the 4th of July festivities going to be out and advertised and posted?
The 4th of July food truck registration Independence Day kickoff is on the manager's report page 3 in the spring and summer events. I'll get additional information from Parks and Rec and continue to share that as well on the government page.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And before I move on, the chamber is the one that's sponsoring that event, right? Okay. I want to make sure it's the chamber's event. Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray, welcome back with us.
Thank you, and I'll be brief as well. It's good to see everyone here. And while we do have this packed out room, everything that I would want to say is in the manager's report, and we have committee reports this evening. But we will have a gun violence awareness event on June 7th that I would like to invite you all to attend. We did it last year with the Zetas of Hope Mills. I don't want to mess up their official name, but the Zetas of Hope Mills this year, the federal chapter, Jack and Jill, the town of Hope Mills will collaborate to do this event. And so more details and a flyer, and the manager will have it in his report when we get the flyer. But I am inviting all of you all to attend that event with us on that day. And again, thank you for seeing everyone. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for all these first responders. We never really get to see you in a room like this together, but thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much. Okay. First responders, thank you, and family members for coming tonight. A lot of presentations, but before that, I want to speak about a few things that's a concern for the community. First, I just wanted to touch back again on Women's History Month and the theme moving forward together, women educating and inspiring generations, focusing on recognizing women who have dedicated their lives to education, mentorship, and leadership. One of these women is sitting beside me, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. Kimwana McCray. She has dedicated her entire life to education, mentorship, and leadership. And I wanted to recognize her for everything that she has done. Okay, on behalf of the town of Hope Mills, I and Commissioner Joanne Scarola were humbled and honored to attend Southview High School annual 2025 JROTC Military Ball on Saturday night. It was a very, very good event, and they wanted a little bit of a speech for about 10 minutes, a little motivational speech, but we were honored to be there to represent the town. My wife and I were honored about a week ago to attend the Fort Bragg redesignation ceremony at 18th Airborne Corps headquarters to celebrate the legacy of PFC Ronald L. Bragg and to honor the history of Fort Bragg. It was well attended, it was full, and that family, a lot of those family members came here from the state of Maine. And it was really, really a testimony to listen to them. Before I jump back, I just wanted to highlight the Southview High School JROTC had a total of 170 cadets. Triple membership this year under Sergeant Major retired Ruby Murray. They have 4 leadership levels. And we're going to put together some certificates, and I hope maybe Jim Morris, VFW Post Commander 10630, may come with us. They requested some certificates from the town to honor each one of the cadets for an exemplary leadership service that they have, and their class of 2025 was really, really great. So we're going to plan to do this as a partnership. We're going to do it together. We're going to go back to the high school and do it. As all of you are aware, House Representative Dr. Francis Jackson, District 45, filed a local bill, HB 327, funds for Hope Mills capital projects on March 6, 2025. It appropriates $16,564,000 from the general fund of the Office of State Budget Management for a directed grant to Hope Mills to be used in the specific amounts for the construction of a new community center and to design and renovate the Hope Mills Senior Center to make it ADA compliant effective July 1, 2025. I want to share that the current status of this local bill by Representative Dr. Jackson is that on March 10th, 2025, the bill passed the first reading on the floor and is now referred to the House Standing Committee on Appropriations and then on to the Rules, Calendar, and Operations of the House for consideration. That is a milestone for our community. It truly, truly is. Because both of these buildings are not wants, they're needs for our community and all the programs, especially our seniors and all the adult programs. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that. I don't think in the history we have gotten this far in this request before. And I salute District 45 House Representative Dr. Francis Jackson for taking the lead and pushing this forward on behalf of our community. Lastly, before we get into the presentations, I just want to I want to take a minute and tap the brakes on something. There's been a lot of discussion over the past month about property tax rates and the reevaluation. We, as this board, understand and feel every resident in Hope Mills. We do. Because of the uncertainty about what the tax rate is going to look like beginning July 1st. The way I like to address it is that the increased property values doesn't mean that there's going to be an increased property tax rate. There's three legs on this stool. I'm an old country boy raised in Blue Ridge Mountains. There's three legs on the stool. Usually there's only two, but this year, three. One of them is the reevaluation process itself. That's the property value to match the current market value of your property. Mine too, and each member of this board, because we all live in this community. It's not like we live somewhere separate, we're all here together. But for some reason, there's been a lot of discussion about a property tax rate as high as 70, 80, even 90 cents. And I just want to let everybody know that's not true. That's not true at all. And I ask, where do people read these things from? And they tell me various sources, especially one. And they've heard it from other people. Our current tax rate is 51 cents in Hope Mills. The county tax rate is 79 cents. Those are the two. If you live in Hope Mills, two tax rates. We have control, this board does, along with every citizen in this town. All of us. When I say we, I mean we. All of us. We have control over the 51 cents. We do not over what the county tax rate is going to be. So, I come back to the three legs on the stool. One leg is the reevaluation itself. Higher property values. And we look at something called revenue neutral. The other leg on the stool is that this year the town will lose $1.9 million in sales revenue. And we have to make up for that loss. So there's two legs that are totally outside of the town. Totally. We didn't reevaluate your property. We didn't say you needed to pay $1.9 million in sales tax. And then there's the third leg, operations. And we'll get to what that one is, because we have to provide services to every resident in Hope Mills, and that's operational cost. Current tax rate of 51, let's just go with an example that revenue neutral would be 32. I'm not saying it is 32, just using it as an example because I don't know what it's going to actually be. I'd love to sit right there at 32, but you'd be paying the very same amount you're paying now. But we've got to add in on top the 1.9 on top of that. I want to be clear and transparent as much as possible and educate folks and say, look, this is where we are. And then we've got operational costs, which means first responders, many of you that are in this room, services to all the residents of our community. We can get the tax rate right, then we got to add the 1.9 to that. And then we got to talk about operational costs. Now, we feel the same increases that we've got other services that are increasing too. PwC is increasing this year and next year. Insurance is increasing as well. But I am pretty confident that the property tax rate for our town will be below 51 cents when it's established in June as part of our budget. We're going to have public hearings. We've still got some budget workshops to work through. But the hardest part of where we are is going to be funding the operational piece. That's going to be the hardest part. And we can't do that without everyone's support. We cannot do it alone. So I'm going to ask our community, this is a tough time for all of us because of the increases to services, to set a fair property tax rate that's going to be affordable to our community and those who live here. That's probably the biggest message that I want to say. It's not going to be 70. It's not going to be 80. It's not going to be 90. And I want to just kind of clear this up tonight because a lot of folks are thinking that. And they're thinking, how am I going to afford to pay my mortgage if I've got a property tax that's going to be through the roof? Well, you know what? I say the same thing too. I'm a property owner just like everyone else in this that lives in Hope Mills that has property. But we still have to provide services. So let's do this together. If there's any questions or anybody has any concerns about it, just pick up the phone and call one of us. We're all available. The county will set their property tax rate the same as we will in June. But there's a lot of hard discussions that will happen before that tax rate is established in June. Be a part of it. Help us. If you have ideas, share them. Because we're all in this thing together. We really, really are. And I want people to understand that. That's not only coming from me, I think I can speak for the entire board, including Commissioner Legg, who's not here tonight, to say we care, we listen, and we want to do the right thing. But we need your help to help us do the right thing for our community. All right, that's enough for me. Let's get into presentations. Under item A, the presentations, I'm gonna kick this off to Chancellor or Town Manager, and then we'll go from presentations and motions and swearing in, and then another set of promotions, and then we'll get down to items D, E, and F. Go ahead, Chancellor.
All right, Mayor. As we kick off the life-saving award recognition, I wanted to read a narrative. The Hope Mills Lake incident. At approximately 11:13 a.m. on February 18th, the Hope Mills Police and Fire Departments responded to a report of a motor vehicle that was driven into Hope Mills Lake. Upon arrival, first responders discovered the partially submerged vehicle with the driver still inside. Officers were able to get the driver out of the vehicle and brought safely to shore, at which time he was transported to the hospital for medical treatment. There were no other passengers inside. However, the Hope Mills Fire Department contacted the Cumberland County Dispatch to have Fort Bragg to dispatch a dive team to help locate the vehicle. So today, we're here to honor and give thanks to several organizations and groups for their valiant efforts. We have 3 members of our fire department, 2 members of our police department, the Fort Bragg Water Rescue and Recovery Team, the Cotton Fire Department, Phillips Towing, and Cape Fear EMS. And I'll turn it over to you, Mayor, to present the award and certificates.
Okay. Our 2 chiefs, would you come forward, please? You know, a community never knows what's gonna happen when you wake up in the morning. These two chiefs, they don't know how their day is gonna look when they come to work in the morning, because they're both first responders. They don't know, there's no wizard's glass to say, somebody's gonna do something like this today, and it's gonna affect our community. They don't know. But what they do know is that they will plan for whatever happens on that day, be like tomorrow morning. On this particular day, no, they had no idea that someone was going to drive a car into Huffman's Way. No. No warning, it just happened. But they reacted very, very quickly to resolve the problem, the issue, and even saved the life of the person who drove that vehicle in the lake. I was on campus when I got the phone call, and then I heard about a few other things, and then left to come to Hope Mills, because you had a vehicle in the water, you had a person in the water, and you had a lot of combined efforts that was going to save the individual which occurred, and then remove the vehicle from the lake. And that happened too. That was a heck of a process to witness how this all unfolded by true professionals who woke up that morning, didn't think that your day was going to look like that. But that's what they found. So we're here tonight to honor some folks that were part of that rescue operation and the partnerships that rescue operation. So Chiefs, I want you to call out the first names, and then we'll present the plaques. And as we call each name that comes up, please bring your families with you, and bring whoever's taking pictures. We want that too.
First one is firefighter Peyton Anderwell.
All right, you got family? Come on. Come on, be part of it. Down at Hope Mills, North Carolina, life-saving award presented to firefighter Hayden. See, I know I'm gonna mess it up, so I want you to say it. Hope Mills Fire Department in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18th, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake. Present this one. Thank you.
Next we have firefighter Roman Donato.
Do you have family, sir?
No, sir.
Town of Hope Mills presents this life-saving award presented to firefighter Roman Fernandez. I got one right. Hope Mills Fire Department in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake.
Next we have engineer Matthew Rupp.
You want to be up here part of that? Sure. You made me good. I see that. Town of Hope Mills Life-Saving Award presented to Engineer Matthew Rupp. Hope Mills Fire Department in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake. I present this to you, sir.
Yeah, about
Police Officer Marcel Hussein.
Town of Hope Mills Life Saving Award presented to Police Officer Maricel Hussein. Did I get it right? Hope Mills Police Department in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake. I present this to you.
And Police Officer Tony Locklear.
Town of Hope Mills Life Saving Award presented to Police Officer Tony Locklear, Hope Mills Police Department in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake, and I present this to you, sir.
Also in recognition, I'd like to recognize Fort Bragg Water Rescue and Recovery Team.
Town of Hope Mills Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to the Fort Bragg Water Rescue and Recovery Team in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake. Presented the 17th day of March 2025, signed by myself as mayor and Chancellor McLaughlin as town manager. Who presents this to you. That was one heck of a recovery. I tell you, I watched it, sir. Just about all of it from the bank, and it was really something to see. So we appreciate it. Yeah, true professionalism. Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to recognize Stockton Fire Department.
Town of Hope Mills Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to the Cotton Fire Department in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake. Presented this 17th day of March 2025, signed by myself and Chancellor McLaughlin as town manager. Present this to you,
Next we have Philip Southern.
Town of Hope Mills Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to Phillips Towing in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake. Presented the 17th day of March 2025, signed by myself and Chancellor McLaughlin as town manager. Present this to you, sir.
Next we have Cape Fear Valley EMS.
Town of Hope Mills Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to Cape Fear EMS in recognition of your courageous and life-saving efforts on February 18, 2025 at Hope Mills Lake. Presented the 17th day of March 2025, signed by myself and Chancellor McLaughlin as town manager. Present this to you, sir. Now, I want to share that Phillips Towing, Fort Bragg Rescue, EMS, Cotton Fire Department, our fire department, our police department, all work in concert together. It was an amazing operation to watch unfold, the partnership and the pieces that came together on this day here at this project. That was not known that morning, but these folks came together and they performed exemplary. Reminded me of operations back when I was in the Army some few years ago with Willie Mitchell. You never know what you're going to look at in the morning, but you react to it and you face it and you accomplish the mission. And they did. They really, really did. And Phillips Towing, I've never seen them in operation before when they bring this big rig in and pop this car up out of that lake. But they wouldn't have been able to do it had it not been for the dive team to set that car up and get it up to the surface for them to get out. So everything really worked well together. But it took professionals to come together to do that. And I just wanted to share that piece along with everybody that's here. What's up next? Promotions for the police department. Okay, Chief.
So our first promotion is going to be to the rank of lieutenant, and it's going to be for Ashley Roweeder. Ashley joined our police department in January of 2020. She was promoted to sergeant, where she served in the patrol division, and most recently as the supervisor in the detective bureau. And she's being promoted to lieutenant tonight, where she'll serve in our patrol division. She's here tonight with Kyle and the whole brood of kids.
Okay. Certificate of promotion. By order of the Chief of Police, this is awarded to Ashley Roweeder. My role is hereby promoted to the position of lieutenant, presented this 17th day of March, 2025, and that's signed by Police Chief Dollinger and by myself as mayor. And I present this to
Our next promotion is going to be the rank of sergeant, and it's going to be to Enrique Medina. Enrique was hired in July of 2017. He served in our patrol division, and most recently, the last few years, in our joint narcotics unit that we have with the Fayetteville Police Department, where he was responsible for many significant narcotics investigations, and he will be now the sergeant in our detective bureau.
Okay. They want to come up here? Family wants to come up here, that's fine. The military members don't get promoted without family members present, right, really? It's one team. Certificate of promotion by order of the Chief of Police, Enrique Medina, is hereby promoted to the position. Did I get it right? Is hereby promoted to the position of sergeant, presented the 17th day of March, 2025, signed by Police Chief Dollinger and myself as mayor. And I present this to you. Okay. All right, Chief.
We're going to call them all up first. Okay, so our first officer is, she was born and raised in South Africa. She's moved to the United States about 11 years ago, married to her husband, Chris Snyder. She has 5 kids, and I'm gonna attempt to pronounce all of their names. Calum, Kaylee, Kaislyn, Casey, and Keziah.
Good job.
All right, I got all 5. All right. She was briefly a sheriff's officer a few years ago. She put her career on hold to take care of her family, and she graduated BLET very recently, and she holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and she is also bilingual with the languages I cannot pronounce, so I'm gonna not do that. But so that's Catherine Snyder. You bring your family up, or?
I mean, there's quite a lot of them, so we probably.
We got some room.
Bring them on. No. Family's coming. Family's coming. Wow.
Yeah, I was.
That's all right. Like old times, really, aren't you?
Our next officer is, he's been married for 10 years. He has 3 children. He is a recent graduate of BLET. He currently is serving, you can set up here. Yeah. He currently serves and will be discharged very soon after 13 years in the United States Army with the Explosive Ordnance Disposal Unit. So he's got a steady hand, thankfully. And that is Billy McCoy. Our next officer is, he did 3 years with Fayetteville Police Department and most recently 10 years with the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office. He is married to his wife Allison, who I believe yeah, she's here. He's currently assigned to our Operational Support Division and our Emergency Service Unit, and that's Lewis Ford. So I'm probably going to be a little more partial to this next one because she comes from New Jersey. So just saying. And we were pleasantly surprised, and she didn't even know, but her father, who was a 28-year veteran of the Camden, City of Camden Fire Department in New Jersey, and as well as her mom and sister made the drive today without telling Lexus. So they came here just for the ceremony, which is really nice. A family of service. Her husband currently serves as an officer in the United States Army over at Fort Bragg. So we're proud to bring, with 6 years of experience with the Pennsauken Police Department in New Jersey. She's currently assigned to our Joint Narcotics Unit with Fayetteville, and it is Lexus Pronto.
Okay. Now we have the swearing in part. But I can't do this. What's missing?
Bible.
Family. Space out. I want all these family members to come up here and be part of this swearing in, please. If you're here to represent one of these fine individuals, please come up. There it is.
Okay, y'all ready?
Okay, here's how it's gonna go. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna say I, and then each of you will state your name. Okay? And then I'll come back and continue on. And then when I get to your state your position part, then you will state your position. Everybody got that? So, left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. Yep.
Raise your right hand. I state your name. I, Louis Alexander Joseph, do solemnly swear that I will be alert and vigilant to enforce the criminal laws of this state, that I will not be influenced in any manner on account of bias or prejudice, that I will support and maintain the Constitution, the laws of the United States, and the constitutional laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of my office as a law enforcement officer, as a
Police officer.
for the town of Hope Mills, according to the best of my skills, abilities, and judgment. So help me God. Congratulations. Welcome to our family, because that's who we are in Hope Mills. Anybody here that wants to take pictures, come forward while they're all up here. You can do that. Oh, yes. When you're done with the pictures, you just got to sign your oath.
Did you say use? I always say use, I'm sorry, it's the proper English. It's not.
When you guys are finished, you got to sign your oath.
Don't worry, they all pick up me for that, but they know what I'm talking about.
They're blank, so.
Okay. Yeah. You say y'all, I say you. We do say y'all.
Motions are next.
You just got the beard on?
Yes, sir.
You was at the Know Your Rights.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had a lot bigger one before when I was at Cumberland County. I had a big long one.
Thank you.
I got one thing right.
Is it 17? Hey, Jacob. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Police promotions are followed by fire promotions. We've got a really good night of presentations and promotions, and then we've got some more recognition after these from our local BSO.
First, I'd like to recognize Engineer Matthew Ruff. He's been with the department 18 years. Congratulations to him on making a good thing.
Thank you. Certificate of promotion. This certificate is proudly presented to Thomas Ruffin, given on the 17th day of March 2025. The certificate is a recognition of your outstanding performance and dedication. You are hereby promoted to the position of lieutenant, signed by Fire Chief Kane and Chancellor McLaughlin, Town Manager, and I present this to you.
Next, I'd like to recognize firefighter Brandon Blake. He has 7.5 years at the time. He is promoted to lieutenant.
You guys ready to go? Certificate of promotion. The certificate is proudly presented to Brandon Blake, given the 17th day of March 2025. The certificate is a recognition of your outstanding performance, dedication. You are hereby promoted to the position of lieutenant, signed by Fire Chief Kane and Chancellor McLaughlin, Town Manager. And I present this.
And last but not least is firefighter Aaron Taylor. I think he is actually on call right now. He's only been with the department about 8 months, but he did start out years ago as a like union member. He was about 10 years old. He's been like a good time with it.
Can we do this at the next board meeting if he's available? Okay. Because he may want to have family here, and I want to afford him the same opportunity as everyone else. We'll get him to the next board meeting. Okay. Veterans of Foreign Wars Post Commander 10630 Jim Morris.
That's a tough act to follow.
So you can see, we got a lot of great firefighters and police in our town. We're really lucky to have the people that step up and protect us and make our community safe. And it's my pleasure to come out here today to recognize a firefighter and a police officer that were supported by their chiefs for the great work that they've done in helping us out in our town. And the first one, I get Brandon Blake, who just got a promotion. Obviously, a good choice. So thanks for all the great work you do, and support you do for us and our citizens. Next is a police officer of the year. Is Officer Corey Tyler. Thank you so much for the great work you do for our town.
Get you a free biscuit with that.
And thank you for having us out. Just for a quick note, Memorial Day is coming up. The last Monday in May, we'll have our town ceremony outside there on May 26th.
One other thing. If anyone in here is eligible to join any veteran organization, American Legion or VFW, please join because we need your numbers to save our benefits. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Cromwell. Lexus. Okay. Next up is item E, proclamation recognizing Key Club International Day. It's under tab 2. Commissioner Squirrel will read the proclamation.
Okay, declaring March 23rd, 2025 as Key Club International Day proclamation. Whereas Key Club International is the oldest and largest service program for high school students. It is a student-led organization that teaches leadership through service to others. It was established in Sacramento in 1925. Members of the Kiwanis International family, Key Club members build themselves as they build their schools and communities. And whereas Key Club International is sponsored by Kiwanis International and is the largest high school service organization in the world, and is a nonprofit organization of student leaders committed to providing service to the world, their home community, and schools. And whereas in 2025, Key Club International celebrates its 100th year of service and is part of an international organization of more than 260,000 high school students, more than 5,000 clubs, and Key Club is represented in 30 countries dedicated to serve with purpose for their schools and communities, seeking primacy to the human and spiritual rather than the material values of life. And whereas Key Clubs, in partnership with their local Kiwanis Club, remains true to its mission and core values by providing members with opportunities to serve, build character, develop leadership, and provide the opportunity to give back to their community through charitable works and community service, while developing competent, capable, and caring leaders since 1925. And whereas the Hope Mills Kiwanis Club sponsors the Key Clubs at Southview and Jackport High Schools that teach high school students the importance of community service by answering the call to lead, summoning the courage to engage, and developing the heart to serve with a positive impact on our community and citizens. And now, therefore, I, Jesse Bellflowers, Mayor of the Town of Hope Mills, do hereby proclaim March 23rd, 2025 as Key Club International Day. Signed, Jesse Bellflowers, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Squirrel. Next proclamation is Town of Hope Mills proclamation recognizing Vietnam Veterans Day. This recognition is personal to me because as a young soldier, when I entered the United States Army in '76, all of my drill sergeants and trainers were Vietnam veterans. That's who trained me, was legacy. I want to say that modeled my early years as a soldier and continued on for my entire 27-year career. Is that foundation was from Vietnam soldiers. And who trained them? World War II veterans and Korean veterans. And who's training our soldiers today? It's Iraq veterans and Afghanistan veterans, just like Commissioner Squirrel. Our legacy continues. Whereas March 29th, 1973 was the day United States Military Assistance Command Vietnam was established, and also the day the last United States combat troops departed Vietnam. In addition, on or around the same day, Hanoi released the last of its acknowledged prisoners of war. Whereas 3.3 million Americans served in Vietnam in the Southeast Asia area of operations between November 1, 1955 and May 15, 1975. The Southeast Asia area of operations included South Vietnam, North Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and the South China Sea and the Gulf of Thailand. Whereas more than 58,000 American servicemen and women were killed in action, and over 150,000 were wounded in action. Whereas of the more than 200,000 Vietnam veterans who reside in North Carolina, over 7,500 of them call Cumberland County home. Whereas since 1973, the remains of 1,060 Americans killed in the Vietnam War have been identified and returned to their families for burial with full military honors. 1,581 Americans, of which 39 are from North Carolina, are still listed as missing in action and are thus unaccounted for. Pardon. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Jesse Bellflowers, Mayor of the Town of Hope Mills, do hereby proclaim March 29th, 2025 It's Vietnam Veterans Day, and the town of Hope Mills is encouraging all citizens to remember the sacrifice and valor of our town toward Vietnam veterans and their families this 17th day of March 2025. Next up, public hearings. We have 3 of them tonight. Emily will take it to the podium and will guide us through all 3. I will read out what the first one is. It's item A, ZNG 001-25, initial zoning, 16.71 plus or minus acres to C and B, plain commercial or more restricted zoning for intersection of Rockfish Road and Camden Road. REID 040470464000, 040447361500, 040447415600, 040446390600, and 040447108700. Hope Mills Rockfish WW LLC owner, and it's under tab 4. I think I got them all. Emily. I'm good with numbers. I don't know about names.
The town of Hope Mills staff received a request to initially zone 16.71 acres of land tied to all the REID numbers you just read off. They would like to zone the planned commercial CP. The subject property is adjacent to the Stony Point Baptist Church, single-family homes, and across the street from both the Coots Mobile Home Park and the USA Storage Shopping Center. Most of the area around it is zoned R10 residential, RR rural residential, CP planned commercial, and C1P planned local business district. Access to this property can be either from Rockfish Road or Camden Road. The Cumberland County Joint Planning Board met and unanimously recommended approval during their regularly scheduled meeting on February 18th of 2025. Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan calls for both heavy commercial. This is considered to be compliant, and it does complement the surrounding areas, including the multi-family development and the school across the street. It's actually USA Storage just across the street, not school. So as you can see here, the area highlighted in green is the location, all of those parcels together. And it is right at the intersection of Rockfish Road and Camden Road. I know DOT is supposed to be redesigning that intersection. I don't have that on me to show what that's going to look like. But that will be slightly different in the near future. Let's see. And this is showing the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan. And as you can see, even though it's shaded a different color, it is over the dark red, which is considered heavy commercial. And it is surrounded by low density residential in yellow, which is in the county, open space, and mixed use. And this is showing where it does have easy access to water. There's not sewer in the area yet. As I understand it, the commercial development will probably end up doing septic whenever they get to the point of submitting plans. And when it was in the county, it was already zoned at CP, so they're asking to be zoned the same in the town limits. And as you can see south of it, CP, C1P, and with conditional zoning, and C1P, and is all south of it. And here's a view of the property. The property is mostly cleared. As I understand, it used to be a horse park or a horse farm, and it's across the street from the shopping centers.
There's Rockfish Road. There's a shopping center being across the street. And I invite you to open the floor for public hearing if you're ready.
We have a motion. Do we have a second to open the floor? All in favor? Public hearing is now open. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the proposed ZNG 001-25 initial zone? Is there anyone here that is in favor of the proposed ZNG 001-25? Seeing none, is there anyone here that would like to speak against the proposal ZNG 001-25? Is there anyone here who would like to speak against the proposed ZNG 001-25? We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Public hearing is now closed. If the board does not have any questions, do we have an action?
Mayor, I'll make that motion. In ZNG 00-25, the Town of Hope Mills planning staff recommends approval of the initial zoning request to CP Plan Commercial District and find that the request is consistent with the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan 2013 designation. It does mirror and complements development within the immediate area. Approval of the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested is in harmony with the surrounding existing uses and zoning.
We have a motion. We have a second. Did you have a question? Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe you did. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, the initial zoning is approved. Next up, item B, ZNG 002-25, rezoning of 0.46 plus or minus acre from R6 to O and IP, office and institutional, or more restrictive zoning for intersection 4950 Camden Road, 041482 4864000, RB2 Holding LLC owner, and it's under tab 5. Emily?
Town of Hope Mills staff received a request to rezone 0.46 acres of land tied to the parcel identification we just read. And they would like to rezone it to ONIP, which is office and institutional. The subject property is adjacent to the Creekside Apartments, undeveloped property, and across the street from the Hope Mills Middle School. Most of the area is zoned R5 residential, R6 residential, and some ONIP office and institutional. Access to this property is off of Professional Drive. Cumberland County Joint Planning Board met unanimously and recommended approval during a regularly scheduled meeting on February 18th of 2025. The Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan calls for both mixed use. This is considered to be compliant, and it does complement the surrounding areas, including multifamily development and the school across the street. Here is a view of where the property is located. It actually used to be a dentist office back in the early 80s. That's what it was built for. And for some reason, it was zoned residential. Fixing it now to ONI. And as you can see, they're requesting the same zoning as what is across the street. It is also surrounded by mixed use. And as I understand it, they already have water and sewer there, but this is showing that it's surrounded by water and sewer access. And here is a picture of the area. You can see the school across the street. And there's the undeveloped area across the street on off of Professional. This is the actual building for the address, which which you can see it's not a residential building. And there's apartments past it, and in the rear of the property. Do you have any questions, or are you open?
Okay, have any questions? You do? No, public hearing. Do we have any questions before we open up the public hearing? Then we'll open up the public hearing and then we'll get them at the end.
A motion to open public hearing.
Motion second. All in favor? Public hearing is open. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the proposed ZNG 002-25? Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of the proposed ZNG-002-25? Is there anyone here that would like to speak against the proposed ZNG-002-25? Is there anyone here that would like to speak against the proposed ZNG-002-25?
Motion to close public hearing.
Motion to close, second. All in favor? Public hearing is now closed. Now, do we have any questions before action?
Thank you, Mayor. So it's been commercial, or it's been an office this whole time. How? Do you, any reason?
I spoke with the original owner, which was Dr. Chuck Maxwell, and when they built the building, he was under the impression that it was commercial, but for some reason it was left residential, and he didn't know that until he sold the property, which always happened before I started working here. And it stayed open as a dentist for several years under another business, which was fine, but then it closed and sat empty for several years, and then
Now it's an issue.
yeah.
Well, it was an issue before, but now it's being corrected.
Yeah.
That's all I have now.
Okay, anything else? Do we have an action?
I'll make the motion.
In case ZNG 00-25, the Town of Hope Mills Planning Staff recommends approval of the rezoning request to ONIP Office of Institutional District, and finds that the request is consistent with the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan 2013 designation. It does mirror and complement developments within the immediate area. Approval of this request is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested is in harmony with surrounding existing uses in town.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Emily, before we get to item C, I need to back up a minute. And I need to recognize Mr. Kuntz, who is here with us tonight. From, and in the first case, his trailer park is right across from the parcel that was just approved. And if the board would allow, he also serves on the Board of Trustees for Fayetteville Technical Community College. Sir, we welcome you, and if you have any words that you'd like to share, please come forward.
Yes, thank you. I rise to speak neither in favor nor against, but only to clarify information that was posted. The description indicated that the property that was just recently zoned was across the street from Coops Mobile Home Park. That park does no longer exist in that location. I would suggest that it be referenced to Coops home, Coops property, Coops residence. There is a part of the mobile home park further up Rockfish Road. My dad divided it into two pieces with the home place divided in between. So I would suggest for clarification and for your records, even the photograph that showed overhead 4 mobile homes, they're gone. That part's been cleared, taken by the state, so we no longer even own the property. I think the other thing you might like for me to say, I made reference to the home place. It is my intent, at some point in the future, the property will be up for sale. None of the family has need to live there. In my heart, I would like to donate that house to the town of Oak Mills if they can use it. My brother Calvin, who was the famous of us as a Major League World Series baseball player, may have some tradition that would come with the house, but to use as you care to use it, if it's feasible and affordable, I think our family would gladly say, let us give it to the town.
And we would enjoy having it. Thank you very much, Mr. Good. Yeah, definitely. Okay, thanks, board, for suspending the rules a little bit here. I was going to do that when I first started, and then we kind of got into item B, but went back and corrected. Item C, the third one, is ZNG 003-25, rezoning of 7.13 plus or minus acres from CP to R5 residential or more restrictive zoning for intersection of 5242 Fisher Road, REIDs 0405568, 102000, and 0405661, 103000. Mike Runsky, Cleo, owner, tab 6.
Township Mill staff received a request to rezone 7.13 acres of land tied to parcels you just moved off, and they would like to rezone it to R5 residential. The subject property is adjacent to the Jesus World Center Church and undeveloped property while being across the street from Exxon Fuel Station, single-family homes, and more undeveloped property. Most of the area is zoned CP Plan Commercial, R10 Residential, and CV Conservancy District. Access will most likely be from either Bingham Drive or Fisher Road. Cumberland County Joint Planning Board met and unanimously recommended approval during the regularly scheduled meeting on February 18th of 2025. The Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan calls for both heavy commercial and open space. While this request is not compliant, it does complement the surrounding areas, including the subdivision single-family homes that are across the street and adjacent to the subject property. Here is an aerial showing the location of the property. Here is the Southwest Land Use Plan showing that it is mostly predicted for heavy commercial. And it looks like they have access to water and sewer across the street from the property. Here is the current zoning, where it is surrounded by the commercial and R10. And this, I was actually standing at the gas station taking pictures of this. But it's currently basically forest undeveloped. You can see it's commercial and residential.
A motion to open for public hearing.
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, floor is now open for public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in favor of ZNG-003-25? If you do, please come forward. Please just state your name.
Hi, I'm Tracy Dusenberry Tate with Halcon Companies. I'm with the development team. And I just wanted to let you know that we are planning to develop independent senior living here. We just recently received a market study from a third-party market analyst that has nothing to do with us, that said that there's a need for over 1,700 units like this. So that's our plan. The planning board did vote unanimously, like staff said, so we're hoping that you will also support us. And I'm just here if you have any other questions, just let me know.
1,700 units?
Actually, 1,770 units. It'll actually be more.
on 7.138.
Oh, no.
Oh. Oh, okay.
There's a need for that.
Yeah.
We're developing 72
Okay.
maximum.
All right.
Yes. Yes, nothing like that. We're not meeting the need at all.
Yeah.
Barely touching.
We're like, what? Just had to clarify. Okay. Thank you very much. Anybody else would like to speak in favor of ZNG 003-25? Is there anyone here that would like to speak against ZNG-003-25? Anyone here that would like to speak against ZNG-003-25?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second. All in favor? Seeing none opposed, public hearing is now closed. Do we have any discussion, questions? If not, do we have an action?
Mayor, I make a motion that, we approve ZNG-003-25 for the rezoning request to the R5 residential district, and find that even though the request is not consistent with the Southwest Cumberland Land Use Plan 2013 designation, it does mirror and complement developments within the immediate area. Approval of the request is reasonable and in the public interest because the district requested is in harmony with surrounding existing uses in the zone.
Do we have a second? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, the motion carries. All three are approved. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Public comments is next. We have one speaker tonight, Ron. I'm going to read this before you. Oh, yeah, come on.
No, I'll wait for you, sir.
All right. Public comments, each speaker is required to state their name and address and limit comments to less than 3 minutes. And the total comment period will be 30 minutes or less. Speakers should avoid repetition and groups should designate a spokesperson. Citizens should have signed up with the town clerk or police officer to speak prior to the start of the meeting. Please direct comments to the full board, not to an individual board member or staff member. Although the board is interested in hearing your concerns, speakers should not expect board action or deliberation on subject matter brought up during the public comment segment. Topics requiring further investigation will be referred to the appropriate town officials or staff and may be scheduled for a future agenda. Come forward, Ron.
How y'all doing? Simon Siniak, 4364 Dominic Street, Hope Mills, North Carolina, 28348. I know you guys are going to discuss the animal control policy. I hope that's good news. Nothing really to say about that. I'm hoping that we're going to be proactive, not reactive with animal control with all the building going on. We got to get that under control. Also the park, I'm going to harp about this. Was there a cost analysis of building this? What's going to be the future cost of this? Are we adding staff? Are we adding maintenance? What's going on with this building? Has this all been thought about, discussed, the whole 9 yards? I noticed you had to build or purchase new washer and dryers for the fire department. In my personal opinion, it should have been discussed while this was being built. That money should have been incorporated into the funding for that. Here we are again spending more money. So are we thinking about all this with this Parks and Rec building at all? Are we even looking that far ahead, or are we just trying to secure the money and then going to figure it out? That's my question to all of you here. I still do my polling out there. I'm there every day if I'm in town. And it's funny to me that it's no across the board. I get a 1, 2, but what's interesting is the younger people are saying no. It's the younger ones. I'm 56 years old. It's the 30-year-olds and below that don't understand it when they're losing their green area. They're out there every day. You asked me last week or last time, where should we build it? I don't know where we should build it. I need to know what property we own. If Mr. Coons is giving us X, Y, Z property, is there enough property there to build it there? I don't know. I don't know what we own. But hopefully we don't do it. Hopefully we don't do it there. Just let's keep it for the future. Let's sit on it. Also the expansion of the road, the infrastructure that goes along with that. I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm saying the same things I did last time. So hopefully this animal control thing, another, I'm not even gonna get into that, but thank you for your time. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Go ahead.
So, sir, you're talking about, how do we get the money? I don't know, if you followed our previous meetings at the EOC, when we were doing one of our budget meetings. We had a lot of the delegates for our area, and we basically briefed to them, hey, we need money, help us out here. So currently, if you go on to the North Carolina Legislative website and you Google House Bill 327, because I know myself and the mayor are following it. That's where we requested the money. We're not trying to do tax dollars in this. If we can get this from the state, that'd be a lot better than getting it from our tax base. So that's what we're looking at. Right now, it's still early stages, so, but I signed up for the alerts to see where the House bill is sitting at, so, but 327 if you want to write that down.
And also, just, I didn't talk about this, but also, the mayor discussed a lot about lost tax revenue, on and on and on. So it looks like you guys are gonna go forward if it's approved with a loss of tax revenue. How are we funding the staffing and maintenance that goes along with this huge Parks and Rec? I don't understand it. I check my checkbook every day. I look at what I've got. I look at what I got coming in. I don't understand what the thought process is. I don't get it. I just manage my own money.
And
sometimes my kids' money.
And that's a good question, and we're still early in the budgeting process. We haven't set the tax rate.
Right.
That all this information as it comes to us, even your citizen input, when it comes to us, that's where we're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna have to say no, or do we really need this? Do we really need trash service? Yes. So, but it's open meetings, so you can come to those budget meetings as well.
I was at March 3rd.
Okay, there you go. But it's input like that helps us decide, we really can't do it, or we really need to do it. So, but your input is definitely getting to us.
What was that bill number again?
327, House bill. It's under the House. And right now, it's at appropriations. So they don't, their next, well, you have to go on and it tells you when the next thing is.
Right, thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
May I just say something as well? We've outgrown that building. So I know you mentioned us being reactive and not being proactive, but that's what we're trying to do. We actually are being reactive because we have outgrown this building and they have outgrown that building. That is not a luxury, it's a need. They have turned previous closets into rooms for programming for people. That's why we moved down to the church doing programming, because we don't have room. So with the citizens here and the citizens that's coming, we don't have enough room for all of these people. So we have to expand. So it's not a luxury, it's not a game, it's just something that we want. This is an absolute need.
I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with the spending. That's my issue. I don't agree going in debt at all.
I understand.
For anybody,
Okay.
Washington DC all the way down to Hope Mills, North Carolina, I do not want to see this going in debt.
Okay. Let's go into public comments. Ron, I gave you a copy of the actual copy of the bill.
Thank you, sir.
So you can follow that. It's got a scanner on the bottom of it. Consent agenda is up next. Do we have a motion to approve consent agenda item A, B, and C, or do we want to move anything to new business?
Motion to approve consent as written.
We have a motion. We have a second. We have a motion. We have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda is approved as presented. That's the end of the consent agenda. Now we come to old business and the update on the golf course on Golfview Road. That's by Town Manager Chancellor McLaughlin.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to provide some insight. I know there were some conversations about concerns of green space. So I wanted to at least provide some basic information to make sure people are aware of actually what's going on. The original master plan that was adopted by the Hope Mills Board of Commissioners included the development of the entire 99+ acre golf course with a senior facility, a skate park, a sports complex, extensive trails, an amphitheater, and massive amounts of passive park elements. In all, with the development of the senior facility, sports complex, and skate park, over 72+ acres were proposed to remain as green space. Some of the green space elements included preservation of existing vegetation, 3 miles of new trails, an expanded pond, total preservation of the wetland areas along Rockfish Creek, and a possible kayak operation along Rockfish Creek. In terms of recent activity, the Board of Commissioners recently moved to relocate the sports complex to another location while refocusing towards a new rec center instead of a senior center on 4 total acres. I repeat again, 4 total acres at the golf course. With the removal of the sports complex, an additional 20 full acres of green space were added back to the master plan. While a design of the area where the previous sports complex was located has not been completed, this change increases the total green space for the entire master plan to 90+ acres of green space out of 99. I will state again, with the full design and development of the golf course under the current master plan, which includes the proposed rec center, there will be 90 full acres of green space preserved and enhanced. Staff is also in conversations with the adjacent development to secure an additional green space to add to the current master plan. I will also note that the current use and condition of the golf course was always meant to be temporary in use. This is due to the fact that the existing track is not an ADA compliant trail, but the old golf cart track when the golf course was under operation decades ago. When staff was granted the temporary use of it through the driveway permit from NCDOT for the temporary gravel parking lot, the goal was always to redesign and redevelop an extensive amount of new ADA compliant trails, more than the amount that currently exists. I wanted to point that out because although there's been some movement and although they were talking about this new rec center, out of a 99-acre golf course, that rec center in total encompasses 4. The remaining 95 acres of that golf course will remain green space, but it will be enhanced green space. So even if we didn't build anything in terms of a structure, we do have to actually develop the green space areas because what's out there now, even though it's being utilized, it's not an ADA compliant actual trail. So we do have to do things out there, but I want people to understand we're enhancing the green space. We're actually adding a possible additional pond water feature in terms of stormwater. We're actually adding trails. A significant portion of it can't be developed because it's wetlands. But we're going into those wetland areas, putting natural trails in terms of crush and run, things of that nature. So we're actually moving to enhance the green space out there to make it a more pleasurable experience. But the narrative that you see pushing is that a 4-acre building is eliminating 99 acres of green space. And so I wanted to make sure people understood these are researchable, fact-based information. This information that is tied to the approved master plan. We will put the master plan on our website again, but I wanted to make sure people are aware we're not taking away green space. In fact, we'll probably end up with more green space than we originally had. So I just wanted to bring that to the forefront and make sure that people were aware of the action that's taking place.
Thank you, Chancellor. I want to add to that. When I was first elected to this board as a commissioner in 2017, the former golf club course was closed to the public. And it had been closed for years. Closed to the public. The taxpayers, the citizens of this community that pay a commercial company to cut grass on a park that was not open. To those who paid to have the service. At that time, myself, along with Mayor Pro Tem at that time, Mike Mitchell, Commissioner Meg Larson, we worked very diligently and very thoroughly to open up that golf course to the public, to include putting in the temporary parking, which has been very beneficial to everyone who has used that park. I don't know why it was closed. I know it was a missed opportunity to purchase the YMCA property. It was a truly missed opportunity. I'll say that. Because if we had purchased that YMCA property, all that commercial development would not be happening on that golf course. But here we are. So it's personal to me, as with everyone else who uses that. I walk that track too. A lot of veterans walk that track, along with their dogs and their families. That's why we wanted to have it open to the public. It's been used. It's being used now, and will be used even further as the spring months warm up and come in. We hear what people are saying, that they would like to keep it as it is. We hear that. A lot of people that are gone, that go there, say that because they find it as a refuge, just like Heritage Park. More and more families, veterans, are going to Heritage Park at the same time, and we're in phase 2, trying to fund phase 2 of Heritage Park. We're trying to do that too this year, but we can't do it alone. We've requested help from our state legislators and from our federal legislators as well to help us fund phase 2. Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray hit the nail on the head. The current Parks and Rec building that we have right now was built in 1983, and I've talked about this at length. When the population in this town was a little over 5,000. We're at 18,000 now. And I will say this, that on any given day on the weekend in Hope Mills, we could be 25 to 30,000 people in this town. Now, I'm not saying all these folks live here, but all of these folks come here. And why is that? They come here for the amenities of Hope Mills. We could have 25,000 people in this town at one time on the weekend. We have desperately need a very good, functional senior citizen center for our seniors in this town. But we have an adult program that has completely outgrown that rec building, the only one that was built in 1983. Our vision as a community is, how can we enhance the community recreational programs for our children, our adults, and our seniors? That's a tough one, because you only got one building. It's maxed out, and we're looking at growing the programs and building another building. So if you have ideas, I respectfully ask, please share them. Please share the opportunities of how we can do this together. Because it's our community, it's our athletic programs, and it's our seniors, and it's our kids. And if you really want to take a snapshot of what that looks like, April 5th, opening day, right across the street in the park. come and witness the amount of children and parents and grandparents and friends that come here to watch their kids grow up on this baseball field, just like Calvin Coots. Just like that. Yes, go ahead.
And also the thing, and it's easy to forget about it because we're not in a storm, we don't have a massive storm like a hurricane or a bad snowstorm, the White Flag Shelter. No one in Cumberland County and this far south, there is no White Flag Shelter. So when you have people that have their houses that are flooded, I had a tree land on my house during one of the hurricanes, where with the heat, massive heat, you know, when power, rolling blackouts and all that fun stuff and snowstorms where we're not equipped for it, there are no White Flag shelters in this area in southern Cumberland County. So we need something, and that's the big part. I mean, yeah, recreation is great, but if we have no house or roof over our head, where are we supposed to go? Yeah, so that's my concern.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? We're moving on to item B.
I do have a comment, Mayor. The McAdams plan, those plans were done before I was elected, maybe 2017, Chancellor Drew. There was plans for the golf course in 2019. And how much did those plans cost us?
Quite a bit.
I don't remember the exact amount.
I remember the exact amount, but and this was a well thought out plan of action for the full development of the master plan. And so what we're talking about doing here is part of the program elements of that. Even if, like I said before, even if you're talking about the area that you're talking about doing enhanced green space, you still have to do that as well. And I want to reiterate, we cannot keep it in the same condition as it is now because it's not ADA compliant. And so a lot of people do need to understand that when we got that driveway permit from DOT, it was for temporary use just to open it up. We do still have to make that compliant, but through the master plan, we're actually adding more trails than we had before because you'll have your ADA compliant track, but you'll also have spurs of low impact crush and run gravel trails throughout the wetland areas that you can't build anything in. So you're going to have more than what you have now.
My last thing is, I know you all are saying you hear a lot of people that don't want anything done at the golf course. I hear the opposite. Unfortunately, they won't come staying here. I think we probably will agree to disagree about that golf course. I will never support not putting anything out there. But I think the biggest thing is we can have differences of opinions and still respect one another. So I don't think we're all ever going to agree whether to put anything at that golf course or leave it as it is. But I think we can be respectful in how we treat each other about our differences of opinions.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray. Moving on, item B, update on the Town of Hope Mills Animal Control Ordinance. Chancellor, that's yours.
All right. As I stated at the last board meeting, I was correct. I did actually contact the animal control department with the county, and I found out some additional information. The Board of Commissioners on July 19, 2021, at the board meeting, they passed Resolution 2021-15 to make the Animal Services Ordinance of the Cumberland County Code applicable within the Town of Hope Mills. This adoption was done to provide a more consistent and applicable set of regulations countywide, as was adopted by other municipalities as well. Although the Town of Hope Mills has its own animal control officer, the full interpretation and regulatory controls of the ordinance are conducted by Cumberland County Animal Control. As this is done at no cost to the town, we had to adopt the county's ordinance to participate in the program. My officer serves as an agent to enforce the county code, and any amendments to this code must be adopted by Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. So we did know that when we had to adopt this ordinance within our limits, that it did change some of our codes with respect to animals, in effect making ours a little less stringent. but that's part of what ultimately had to happen for us to be able to get these services from animal control countywide. So anybody that does have some issues, I did contact the county. They would have to go through the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners to get those ordinances changed. But that will probably be an effort for them to change the county ordinance as a whole.
Okay. So I guess the next step of the process would be, anybody, like you said, if anybody wants that ordinance changed, they would have to present that change to Cumberland County Board of Commissioners for consideration.
That is correct.
Okay, go ahead.
And just for further clarification purposes, if we had our own manpower and had our own animal control system, then we can set it, but because we're using Cumberland counties.
And that opens us right back to the unpopular word called taxes.
Yeah.
If we want to have our ordinance back, it would require us to develop our own entire animal control force. And I will tell you, we would not be able to enforce the entire town with one officer. So we're talking about 3 or 4 police officers. We're talking about a whole department. We're talking about a whole division. And that would be the same conversation we're having now with the expansion of our services and things of that nature. And so the fact that we're getting that right now at no cost, it is a cost savings. But I will, like I said before, anybody that has any issues with that ordinance, there is a mechanism to change it. But I think that's what led to the town adopting the resolution back in 2021.
Well, if you don't ask, you'll never know.
If you do ask, nothing will happen.
All right, thank you, Chancellor. That's it for item B. We'll go to new business. Item A, consideration and approval of budget amendment number 23 for $1,900 to cover training costs, funds to be allocated from the drug forfeiture account. That's under tab 10. That one's yours, Chancellor. Or Chief, number 1.
I think Chief Ballinger addressed that.
We're just requesting to use the asset forfeiture, which is the money we seize from criminal activity to support some of our training classes. That's all.
Now I'll make a motion to approve budget amendment number 23 for $1,900.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Item B, consideration and approval of budget amendment number 24 for $27,600 to cover a new washer dryer for the fire station under tab 11. Robbie, you got this from Chief Kane? Okay.
Yes, sir. Anybody got any questions for us, or?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'll keep it short. I have a lot of questions. I'm hoping we window shopped before we went and picked a $27,000 dryer, or is this the only option we had?
Yes, we did look around. The company that we chose is Advantage East. And it's not just a washer and dryer, it's a stack set washer and dryer, commercial grade with a 50-pound capacity. The one we have right now is an 18-pound. So the stack washer and dryer is the $15,956. The other piece of that is a PPE Express drying system. It's a large cabinet to dry the PPE in. It also serves as a hose dryer. So it's dual purpose. And it is $7,000.
You good? Go ahead.
So it's 2 pieces of equipment essentially, a dryer and a washer.
Yeah. Stackable.
Yes, technically it's 3 pieces. It's a stack washer and dryer, and then the commercial gear dryer.
Any other questions? I'd like to remind everyone that this issue was discussed well at the budget retreat. It was. And this is not a want, this is a need that was identified during the walkthrough when we went through the building for the tour. And I think Commissioner Marley said it best. When you build a new house, you don't put in old appliances. You put in new appliances. And that's what should have happened with the firehouse, but it didn't at that time. And we have corrected that with this motion tonight. And if anybody wants to really look at or question the price of these appliances, go online and search it up. I did today. And there is plenty of websites that will talk. There's some washers that are $27,000 by themselves because of capacity. I mean, I moved around and I said, man, you got stackables, you got dryers, you got washers. At the end of the day, it comes down to this. It's a need for our firefighters in that firehouse.
I will add one thing. It's not a typical washer and dryer like you have in your home. It's not a typical commercial grade. These systems also comply with NFPA 1851 standard, which is standard on selection for protective ensembles for firefighters. It was created to establish proper PPE maintenance and limit exposure of fireground contaminants to the firefighter. It's not just washing clothes. This thing goes a long way to preventing cancer and everything else.
Now, these are not Maytag appliances. And I think that's what some folks were looking at, 27,000, at least some of the comments I read on the different sites. Go ahead.
And this is, it will be completely installed.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's the warranty on it?
You got 3 to 10 years. Got 3 years on all parts, 10 years on frame, shaft, cylinders, bearings. The dryer has a 5-year, 3 years on part, 5 years on bearings and trunnion. Anywhere from 3 up to 10 years, depending on what part.
How long does that last? The one that you have now, how long does that last?
The one that's in that building right now,
Marty's got that in.
it was sitting there 21 years ago when I started with it.
I was still using it when I was employed here full-time 15 years ago. I was using it, and it was here when I got here, and I worked for the town for almost 19 years.
That
So
means
you get
this,
close to your 30 right now.
that means this washer and dryer lasts you for at least 20 years then, if the last one did.
Thank you, Commissioner Perry. Remember, we asked that warranty question at the budget retreat. I'm glad you brought it back up. Chief, what's the timeline for it to be installed?
That I'm not sure. You got something on that?
Roughly the end of the month. The parts are in, we just established a timeline for the crew to be able to come in and install.
Okay. And there's no problem bringing it in and installing it, not with where you're going to put it?
No, sir.
Okay. So we have enough capacity to fill all 3 of these units. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, may I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
We did. We talked about this at length at the budget retreat. And then I think when we had our pre-budget meeting in February, we talked about it again. One of them was purchased in 1997. I remember that. One of them, I think you all said someone donated to you all. For the board, though, stop responding to these people with these online, making agenda items out of these online requests. I respect that gentleman who came in here tonight and did his 3 minutes, or somebody that emails us directly, but you won't spend a lot of time on this agenda if we keep putting this stuff on agenda based off what these people are talking about online. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I make a motion to approve.
Second? All in favor? Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Committee liaison updates, reports. We'll start off with Commissioner Brian Martin. Okay, before we get in. All right.
I failed to bring this up, add to the agenda, application for the homeless may we add that and see, approve these applications?
So she wants to, so we realized that with our bylaws, they were written as the commissioners were, as committee members. So we're taking up a seat on these committees. But I think that if Commissioner Craven wants to do that, we would probably have to do something about those committee bylaws. Because that's how, because I'm a committee member for the Arts and Culture and Prime Movers, which I'm taking up a seat technically. But I think what she's wanting to do is give up her seat and give it to this young man. But wouldn't we have to change the bylaws?
I'd have to take a look at how the bylaws are written, but you could amend the bylaws to allow the board to serve as an ex officio member, not counting it as an official
I
member.
haven't even seen the bylaws for this.
I think, so the same thing happened when, and I didn't realize that. I think that they were always written that way. I don't think we were following the bylaws the way they were supposed to. But from my understanding, all of the committees are like that, whether we're really honoring them or not, but all of them were written like that. But I would not be opposed to amending the bylaws to take us off as being like official members so we can open the seat up for a citizen.
And this would be the 7th. But if I fail, then this will be 8.
And Mayor Pro Tem, if I can get clarification, are you making that suggestion for all the committees? They're all written the same way.
But see, they made me change when they went back and actually looked at something when we redid our bylaw. I mean, when we redid the committees like a year or two ago. And I think if they were already, yeah, but it's at the pleasure of the board. But I'm not opposed to taking us off and just having us serve as the official member. But I guess we have to do that first. Bring that and do that first before we can add this gentleman to this committee.
And this is specifically about which committee this is.
I don't know for all of them, but like I
We can certainly do it for all of them.
Can we consider tabling this until the next meeting? Or you want to do it on?
If you like, I can plan on bringing back a proposed amendment that you can consider at the next meeting.
Yeah.
April 7th.
April 4th, I think.
April 7th.
You good?
I mean, I'm good with what they're saying, but I think we need to let the attorney bring something back to the next meeting. So I'll make the motion that we table this application to the next meeting. So you need that in form of the motion.
So Commissioner Craven, you can tell him he can participate. He just can't be a voting member, but he can come to the meeting. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, he still attend.
Yeah. He wants to be appointed, so.
Okay. Okay, this recommendation's tabled until April 4th, actually, so we'll add that on under new business. Well, that would be old business. Yep. All right, Commissioner Brown, Marley, we'll back to committees again.
Sir, I'm gonna relinquish my time for the HPC, the Commissioner Scarola. She attended that meeting as well, and she would have a lot greater insight. And I'm gonna let her explain what went on.
Okay.
So, myself and Commissioner Marley were there at the meeting. Some of the things like just to go through really quickly, we had the gentleman from the Tuscarora tribe, thank you, I was looking for the word. He did a presentation, it was very informative. It was a lot of information. It was a lot of, I don't know how to say it, was a lot of information. But there's a potential because of the way the river and the Cape Fear River, potential for burial grounds essentially. He had documentation that showed in the 1800s that there was, I guess, burial sites, but at that time, you know, with all the storms we had, we don't even know if they're still in place anymore. One of the things that was discussed because of that, we have the conference in Greenville at ECU. They have a department that deals with, the Native Americans and stuff like that. So it was, Marco Morrison was at the meeting. We're gonna try to see if we can get some information while we're there at ECU to try to get information about the Tuscarora and see what other, maybe maps or something we can get to show about that area. There was very, very information-full briefing. Then we had, so I attended a CLG workshop in Kernsville, North Carolina. It's about 2 hours away from here. Their town is about 23,000. Very similar to a Hope Mills layout, but their the things they covered in their class, the HPC has their work cut out from. It is a lot of work, and to the town manager, Emily, you're going to have your work cut out for you, Emily, because there's a lot of stuff that the town planner is going to have to do for once they start doing these certificates of appropriateness. I was able to get a bunch of information that I gave to Sharon Reeves and Teresa Davis. They had us learn an example of, hey, this is your standards and specs essentially of, your historic district. You can't move a door or you can't remove a window to put a door there. And so they had us go through this actual file like it was coming from planning to figure out whether it's we could approve it or deny it. Very, very informative. There was so much information. I did make sure that I gave everything that I learned to the HPC. I was also able to get a copy of the Forsyth County's essentially standards and specs, so something we can mirror off of when we have to build ours to do certificates of appropriateness. It is a lot of information, but they had it really, really well done as far as what buildings what colors you can paint their houses, what doors you can have based off of the architecture and stuff like that. Now, granted, their county wasn't really a mill village, but it was a good stepping stone for us. I took a lot of pictures. I have a bunch of video, but it's so large I couldn't update it onto Facebook because right on the town property, their welcome center, their visitor center is also part of their museum. And they have like a gift shop inside there, and then part of the town property leads to a nonprofit owned building that is a historical museum that was called the what is it called? The corner. Let me see what it's called. Corner Folly. So it's the unique house. One of the highlights of the house is the gentleman who built the house actually subdivided some floors. You're talking about 12-foot floors, subdivided it into 2 6-foot ceiling rooms. So I was leaning to the side to fit in this. But ultimately, it was a very great learning experience. I recommend anyone to go travel down there to see that area. Like I said, I gave all that information to the HPC. Lastly, the Parks and Rec Director, LaMarco Morrison, talked a little bit about submitting for a grant for the Partech grant for phase 2. So the committee agreed on that and moving forward, hopefully with the grant for Partech. I think that is it for the HPC.
Can I add something? Because I was at the meeting as well, and it's not negative, it's very positive.
Now come to the mic. Hit the switch.
You know who I am. I'm Karen Saracen, and I was at the HPC meeting. And to circle back around with Mr. McDowell from the Tuscarora tribe, he was the marketing director. And one of the things that really piqued our interest also is he was talking about the Red Wolf in western North Carolina that the tribe is working with that area with federal grants to save the red wolf in that area, which he was also insinuating that he can help with grants for Heritage Park, which would be federal grants. So that was very interesting, and that piqued our interest. Of course, he has to come back and show the proof, because he did give us papers, and he did show us where he believes there were mass graves of generations of Tuscaroras. And he would like to come back and actually talk to the board as well. But very interesting, and like I said, it really, he was saying that he's working on federal grants and bring it back to Hope Mills, like he was saying, the sign out on Main Street about the mills. He says, I'd like to have a sign, and we would like to have a sign in Heritage Park, right by the creek that goes through. But that's all I have.
Thank you, Karen. Anything else?
Before you move forward, I definitely want to commend the Historic Commission. They are doing a lot of great work. A lot of times, and as they have been recently elevated to a commission, this is what they're supposed to be doing. I remember Mayor, I think you were the first person he reached out to. That ended up in the Marco's hand. That ended up in Sharon Reeves' hand. He made a formal presentation at HBC, and they're all talking together about how do you properly verify, do you go through SHPO, things of that nature. And so we're talking about the development of Heritage Park Phase 2. Imagine placards that are historical in nature that tells that story as well. And so I think that's basically what they're supposed to be doing. Staff can also help with what Commissioner Scroll is talking about in terms of the certificates of appropriateness. Those are outlined by ordinance with the commission. The authority is there, but I think the first step is to adopt the real standards. They have the generic standards from the state, but what you saw at the CLG training is areas that have official standards that were developed. Those are the standards that you test the certificate of appropriateness by. And so I think the groundwork has been laid by the board by adopting that historic preservation ordinance as a commission. And these are the activities that they should be actually involved in, and I commend them for moving forward.
Thank you, Chancellor. I'd like to add that this all started after I read the article that was in the FO. And I reached out to him and I called him, and it was a little bit back and forth emails and just trying to get together. But here, not too long ago, about 3 weeks ago, we had lunch here in Hope Mills along with Sharon Reeves. And it was the first time that I met him, and it's very interesting the story that he would like to share with the town. So I do see eventually here in the next few months, depending on what the agenda looks like, that we could schedule him for a formal presentation. I think it'd be wonderful. Just great. Commissioner Swallow.
Thank you, Mayor. And one thing that we do have to understand is it may not just be the Tuscarora. Now, he is the first one that did brief us, but essentially because of that water source, we don't know what other tribes were nearby. While he was speaking, I was researching. I think a couple of us were researching while he was going along. They actually moved to New York State too. So the vast majority of them moved back to New York State. So it could be Tuscarora, it could be other tribes, but that would be when we go to Greenville. I'm gonna check out ECU and see what I can dig up.
Okay, Commissioner Craver, Homelessness Advisory Committee.
We had a great meeting. There were 14 people there, which is twice as many as supposed to be on the board. Debbie Brown, that is the director of the Continuum of Care, she was in attendance again and answered a lot of questions. She also brought up about the Fayetteville Care, And we discussed about meeting with the churches around to see how many of them have buses that they would come and pick up some of our unhoused, citizens and take them downtown to this Fayetteville Cares for showers, their clothes being washed, they can get their hair cut, and services that maybe we could offer that one day a week. We also discussed about continuing to start filing for our 501c3. We elected officers, and the chairman is Kenny Rogers, vice chair is Lori Houston, secretary is Janet Singletary, and the treasurer is Carleen Bailey. We served, I bought pizza and cake, and served everyone. And I'd like to thank, Ruth Farley and her granddaughter-in-law to be, Julia, for coming and helping me set up and clean up afterwards. And it was a great meeting, and I look forward to our next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Legg's not here for the Appearance Commission. We're back to Commissioner Squall.
Thank you again, Mayor. Again, Veterans Affairs Committee is currently in hiatus. Cumberland County Air Quality Ambassador, there are no new changes. Right now, Cumberland County Air Quality, through the Sustainable Sandhills, they're struggling. I'm the only one that showed up to their last meeting. Each municipality is supposed to send a representative. No one's been showing up, so she's struggling. It's apparently a mandated committee, and so they're supposed to show up. But there's no new real changes. It was just information from that week of the air quality. But more to follow as I get more information. FAMPO, I have the meeting coming up next week. Sustainable Sandhills will also be there, so I could definitely get information about air quality while I'm there. Hope Mills Area Chamber of Commerce. So as the town manager had mentioned in his manager's report, we got the Women Mean Business Luncheon coming up on the 20th. I was picking up some gift baskets. I know there's some stuff in the chamber office right now that are gift baskets for the Women Means Business. It's going to be a good time. Please, Chief Dollinger, just make sure your 4 officers, the ones who are going to be at the table, are there by like 9:15. Thank you. So I've sponsored a table for our officers because one of the officers is on the actual panel. The panel consists of different elements. They kind of put me in charge of looking for someone in a male-dominated field, and I was like, too easy. We got firefighters and we got police officers, so I was able to get a police officer for that. So that's coming up very, very shortly this week. Then also we have the Easter egg hunt. Excuse me, let me look on my calendar again. So the Easter egg hunt, apologies, bear with me. All right. So the Easter egg hunt is coming up. That will be Sunday, April 13th. Now there's different times for different age children. Non-school age, really young children, 10 a.m. elementary school, 11 a.m. middle and high school. Yes, middle and high school students. Don't be throwing elbows to get Easter eggs. But that starts at noon. There's going to be obviously the egg hunting. There's a craft corner, and there's also going to be the Easter bunny present, I'm being told. So there was a discussion of why is it being on Sunday? Again, it's the Chamber of Commerce. They have children of their own. They work. We had to find a time that worked with the town and worked with them, as we are volunteers for this. So We understand not everyone's happy with it. Again, this is their first year, so we can take feedback and we can work on it next year. So, feedback is definitely being, taken, so that's all I have.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Dr. McCray.
Okay, I will start with the Economic Development Committee, and we met on January the 14th. And the committee discussed the election of officers, but we decided to wait to elect officers because we did not have full attendance, and we will be electing a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. The committee was provided with binders. The binders included bylaws, committee rosters, terms, meeting agendas, minutes, and officers, and they were also given a binder with the Hope Mills Gateway study. For our next meeting, we're actually going to visit the 3 Gateway focus areas, and that will benefit the new members as committee members, as well as some of us that's been a part of it for a while, because it kind of got defunct during COVID. And there was a lengthy discussion about the direct community engagement with residents and stakeholders in terms of future growth recommendations. They were also discussions about how to get people more informed about major roadway improvements coming and how they would like to be supportive of that growth once they realize that the infrastructure is being upgraded as well. So hopefully they'll be supportive of it. And we also are working on a growth survey that will directly engage citizens, property owners, stakeholders, and developers to help shape the vision of what they ultimately want Hope Mills to be in the future. I think that is all of the updates for the Economic Development Committee. For the Hope Mills Prime Movers, Tiffany's gone. So the Hope Mills Prime Movers, they do have a new Facebook page. It's called Prime Movers of Hope Mills. We did that change so that the Parks and Rec is the ownership of the owner of that Facebook page, and it's not directly related to or passwords or things being distributed with members, because they may change. This weekend, Tiffany and the chair, Kenny Rogers, they participated in giving the first 200 women free donuts. Free donuts at Superior Bakery, and it was a way for them to interact with the community as well. We are hosting, as the town manager stated in his report, we are hosting the I Am Me, This Is Me, Teach Me How to Tie mentoring program on March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 1. So if you know young men that are in the 4th and 5th grade, please recommend that there's a QR code. There's also a link that I've shared on my Facebook page. They have several seats left, but it really is a really good program. So if you know any young men that could benefit from participating in that, please have them sign up. And lastly, they are hosting a daddy-daughter, mother-son event on May 24th, and I believe that time is from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Parks and Rec building. It's supposed to be really, really nice. So just try to get through this mentoring program first, and then we will be heavily marketing the May 24th event. And finally, the Cultural Arts Committee. Oh, wow. Okay. So the Cultural Arts Committee, we were working on a mural to go in Heritage Park. There's a wall there that has a lot of graffiti on it. Well, the artists came to the Arts and Culture meeting, which Town Manager McLaughlin and Lamarco attended because we had already planned for her to come at our last meeting to come to this meeting. She said that it was unsafe. She didn't see a way that she would be able to put the mural there. So what we've done now is we are trying to work with her to, on the side of the Parks and Rec building, facing Rockfish Road this way, we're thinking about it's not on the brick. You can put something there, and it's a mural, and you can actually rotate it throughout the town. So you can get business owners. We can have another building, but she's working on the design. She has the measurements. She's working on the design and a cost estimate. She's also the artist that had a mural on the Arts Council building, and it was on, I'm not really sure what you call it, but it's the same material that she did for the Arts Council, but she was one of the few vetted muralists that the Arts Council gave me. So we're working with her on that, and finally, we have not forgotten about that Welcome to Hope Mills sign that is supposed to include all things Hope Mills in it. Still looking for a location for that and the right artist. We were working with the artist. We didn't really get what we wanted, working with that artist. So that's still not dead. I really would like to see that for our community. I have reached out to Mr. Coates for a couple of things about a peach orchard and getting a copy of his brother's ring to go inside of that mural. But anyway, we've kind of put that on the back burner for now, but really still interested in that. But we're focusing on putting something really big, interactive, fun on the side of the Parks and Rec building, but waiting on Mara, who is the artist, to give us an estimate for that cost. I think that is all there.
Thank you.
Oh, man, if I could, I definitely want to circle back to the Economic Development Committee. I attended the monthly Cumberland County Joint Liaison meeting today, and it felt good to be in a room full of leaders throughout the entire county. And the star of the show was our Economic Development Committee. We were commended for the fact that not only are we taking the lead in collaborative efforts with other organizations throughout the county, we were one of the main entities that continues to talk about regional transportation. And that was something that they had a desire for, and it was spoken prior to the presentation. But the fact that we were the main ones actually speaking about that is something that was very powerful. And it's something they are actually charging us to bring back to the next meeting with some updates on how to bring it to fruition. Also, ending up with the Cultural Arts Committee, I do think that what I saw from the artists was very powerful with respect to how the murals are actually attached to the wall. It's a permanent mural without being permanent, if that makes sense. You can move them around. But if you ever want to see an idea, go to Maxwell Street downtown on the side of the Arts Council building. It's a huge one right there, and it's done in panels, and it looks amazing. And I do think that on the side of the Parks and Rec building, coming from Carly C's coming and you turn down Park Avenue, this road right here, it would be something to see. For residents that actually utilize the track and things of that nature, it would be very visible. And it's crazy how we've been talking about where can we put it, where can we put a mural that people will see, and we're talking about Heritage Park and all these other places. And then all of a sudden we're looking like, wait a minute, it's the perfect location. And so definitely looking forward to seeing what we can do with that as well.
Thank you, Chancellor. Regional transportation just might happen, Mayor Pro Tem.
I heard.
Just might actually happen.
It might happen before I get out.
Okay, Mayor's Coalition, that's my turn, I'm last. Mayor's Coalition, next meeting's in May. Mid-Carolina Council of Governments, that meeting is coming up March 27th, I believe. Yep. And Parks and Rec Advisory, I'm gonna hit the high points. They met on the 24th. The chair is here with us tonight. If I leave something out, Mr. Mark Hess will grab that football and run it in the end zone, spike it probably with Karen. But there was a couple of key things for the committee, and one of them was clarification and certification to apply for the PART grant and to put a letter together. There's some surveys about the two properties down at Big T's. One of the biggest discussion, and that's coming up 1 week from tonight, is the public input meeting for Ed Herring Park. That is probably one of the biggest keys. In lieu of an actual meeting next week, next Monday night, there will be an opportunity for the public to weigh in on what does the future of that park look like, and what does the neighborhood folks that live around Ed Herring Park, what do they want? What is their vision, and how would they like to see it proceed going forward? And I think that's probably one of the biggest keys that was talked about during the meeting. Heritage Park definitely was talked about during the meeting, and I think the committee is looking at putting a couple of benches down at the golf course.
That's correct.
Did I get it all, Mark, or did I leave out something?
The meeting next Monday will be at the rec center.
Yeah, yes. Starting at 6, right? Yep, 6 PM at the rec center is when it'll start, and then I think it'll move over to the park from there. If there's any interest to go to the park, we'll start there at the rec center and then actually go out to the park and walk the park. So that's all I have for the committee reports. Item 10, oh, wait a minute, I left out one, a very important one. Last Friday, Town of Hope Mills hosted the Hope Mills Ministry Committee right here at the Parks and Rec Center. And the chair of that committee, Pastor Tim Gore, is still with us tonight. And it was probably a very, very well-attended, very informational meeting as the town plans for the Easter sunrise service coming up and May 1st day of prayer. So it was really a very good opportunity to meet all of the pastors that are in the Hope Mills area and kind of get them back together. And it's something that has been long overdue, long coming, and it's something we're going to build on going forward. And food always brings people. I believe in that too. Food always brings people, and Commissioner Craig, if you want to add anything to that, you were there too.
Yeah, the food was delicious. And the fellowship was great. And I thoroughly enjoyed being with you. Thank you, Pat.
So with that, that's the last thing I need to add in. So then item 10 is reports, informational items. Our next board meeting, of course, will be on the 7th of April. And the rest of the committee meetings are there. Monthly reports are under tab 12. Any staff comments before we adjourn at the 9:26 mark tonight? Around the wall, start with Chancellor. Nope.
Throw something like anybody does have comments.
No takers? No takers on that back wall? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. We have a motion, we have a second. We are adjourned. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you very much for watching, and please help us.